Hi! In my previous video I've shown my first prototype for my unnamed, unthemed 2D and 3D space platformer game. One of the highlights from it was the warped movement space, but there were some issues with it. Inconsistencies, snapping physics. Creating levels including this warped space was tedious too, so that also became a priority for me. I've been very busy since then, so let's dive into it. This is the first video in a series explaining the features I've implemented to solve these issues, because the runtime was getting too long. These features are the snapping pieces system, the new level tube system, the ribbon white boxes, and the camera controller. In this video, we'll talk about the snapping pieces system. So let's not waste any more time. My name is Álvaro Pérez, and this is the second devblog of, well, it doesn't have a name yet. So, in my previous prototype, I had created the whole level manually, and then built the curve on top of it. This proved very unmanageable. It had really took me a whole day to set it up, so I've decided that I would separate the level into pieces, and each piece would hold the curve information. Each level piece is a separate scene, used like a prefab, and I've developed a snapping system to not only make it easier to place on the main scene, but also to make it perfect. I've created a custom gizmo for this. Each piece has a set of hooks that are detected for the gizmo, and you can drag a piece's hook into another piece's hook to move it there. Pieces can also define hook lines, which are pairs of hooks that define a line that you can hook another piece to, snapping to the closest point along that line. I've defined that the standard height my character will jump is 3 meters, so for instance, in this straight flat piece I have a hook line at that height, so I can easily place another platform on top of it. Which made me think, should I make different sized straight pieces, so I can build my platforming levels with them? Ideally, I'd also want level pieces to be as reusable as possible, so I want them to be flexible so that from one basic piece I can create many different variations. A piece can define some parameters, and also some mode actions, which are objects that define how to modify the piece according to these parameters. For instance, this setup white boxes that is set up to get the child named whitebox will use the piece's extends field to change its size. This way, I only need one flat floor piece to make any flat platform. This anchor object also uses the extends field to move children of the piece to the desired positions, so the piece's hooks are always at its edges, no matter the size. These objects use access filters, multipliers, and offsets to give this system even more flexibility. For instance, I don't want these tube face objects to be exactly on the edge, so I'm applying offsets to them. I will explain what these are in a future video. Another way these pieces can be changed is by changing their type. I have one-way platforms in my game, which work by having custom Area 3D objects that deactivate a collision flag on the character. The mode actions are set up to detect the level's piece type and set up the area's collision shape, the static object's collision layers, and even the color of the mesh, since I want my one-way white boxes to be brown. That way, in my level, I can just change my piece type to one-way, and poof, here it is. The inspector is also slightly different in the pieces scene and when it's instantiated in the main scene, so that for instance, the mod actions are hidden on the consumer side. This way, creating the levels is separated into 2 tasks, and even though it's just me for now, it could be a task split for 2 different profiles. A technical artist could design the specific piece with all its variability, and then a level designer could use those pieces to build the level they want. The way I'm conceiving this production pipeline is that we could first create the whole game with white boxes, and an artist could come in later and dress it up, without adding any collisions, therefore separating both tasks in a very safe way. Of course, that helps me a lot, because there is no artist yet, and it's most likely just going to be myself. So I can just forget about that whole aspect of the game and focus on level design. So that's it about the snapping pieces. This feature really sets the ground of what building levels is like in this game. But one remaining element from this system is that it's going to also hold the information about the level curve and the direction. And we're talking about that in the next video. And in the next video after that one, we'll explore how I've created even more complex level pieces, making the possibilities of this game almost limitless. This feature will also be useful for implementing level streaming in the future. I could add a special piece that defines where to instantiate the next level. So, thank you for watching, my name is Álvaro Pérez and this was my second devblog. See you in the next one!